Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to actually make your own game cartridge from start to finish. In the previous video I showed you guys service, which is an easier process, but in this video I'm going to show you guys how to actually make this from scratch. So with that said, let's do this. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to make this. I'm going to start off by showing all the required materials that we're going to need. And then we'll try to go step by step. Of course, sometimes I do go over some details way too much. But of course, I'm going to separate all the sections or the chapters from this video into the description so you can jump from part to part. All right, so for the first item that we're going to need is going to be our case. And I was going to 3D print it. And I'm still going to show you guys how you can 3D print it. At least I'm going to show you guys how to set it up. But I do have a 888 3D printer, which is quite known to cause some fire. And as soon as I was done doing the 3D slice, it told me it's going to be 14 hours, which I do not have this time to keep checking on it. And for my safety, I will not do that part. Instead, I'm going to come here on their worldofgames.com. And as you see over here, there's plenty of other components over here from different consoles and handhelds. But what we want is the Atari 2600. You want to come under Homebrew. We open a tab. And what we really want is just a game case. And there's other stuff over here like repair parts. So if you want like a capacitor over here, you can come and get it if your console's not working. But what we actually came for is for the game case. And it's nice to know if you need a different color, you can just ask them. It was really cheap, so $7, ended up paying like $10 total of shipping and taxes. So I know in the last video I said if you could use a 3D printing service to print the case, and that was like $30, $35. Ignore that, just come to this site and order the case. As you see, it does come with the case, this component, and what's really nice, it came with this screw and the spring, so you can help look your game case look like official, as official as it can get. So that part done, after you're done ordering, I'm going to show you guys how to get your 3D print files quickly and how to set it up on our software over here. So pretty much like in the previous video, you can just go to Thingiverse, type our Atari cartridge, so we can get our 3D models for it. You're going to choose this path. So there's these two available files. You have the Atari 2600 cartridge shell, easy print, and the cartridge housing. And both of them, just download the files and then whichever one you choose. And then you're going to go over our 3D software or slicer if your 3D printer doesn't have one. And we're going to just change the settings for our filament. All right, so let me quickly go over with you guys how to get our files on our 3D slicing software. I'm using the Ultimaker Cura. And if you already have a 3D printer, you pretty much know what you're doing. But after you have extracted all your files, you're going to open it. And here's my bed layout. I'm going to make sure it fits on it. So let's do a quick moving around so it can fit everything. And then, of course, you click Slice, which is going to get our G code over here. It's going to give our estimated time. Of course, I would be using the ABS filament since it's started in our PLI that I have. And, of course, if you're going to come over here, make sure you come under Settings. You can have fine, normal, whatever you like. What I think it's important, though, it's our infill. Make sure it's bigger than 20. Let's say between 20 and 50 should be fine for over here. And I think our infill pattern as line should be good over here. And if you don't know what I mean, let me slice it and let me show you guys. Preview. Well, come down over here. And this is the infill. As you see, 50, there's a lot over here. 40 degrees or 10. Slice. As you see, there's way less objects with way less filling within the frame, so it makes it less prettier. So if you want to make it sturdier, which we should, oh, sorry about that. Make it sturdier, just slice 50, and you see there's a lot more over here. And of course, since I have an 8.8, I have to make sure my speed is not faster than 25. You can change all of this. You can add more settings somewhere over here. It's basic, you can add advanced and expert. You can change this, the infill in the first line and so forth. But basic is fine. And of course, just fill the material based of, normally when you buy a filament, it comes with a wheel. And that wheel is going to have some settings. If it doesn't, just do 245, at least 110. You want to make sure it's really hot so the ABS won't work. And if I slice it over here, like I said before, 50. Okay, let me come over here. Just take this from rim to skirt. I don't know why this part is not showing up. Is it off the bed? All right, so here we have 14 hours. Like I said before, I don't have time for watch this print go over 14 hours. So, but if you have a 3D software and, well, at least you know how it works, that's how you do it. So I show you guys all the materials that we're gonna need. However, we can come under here under Grand Idea Studio, under the Pixel Pass part. I'm gonna put in the link on the description. And here we have a bunch of information and files that we're gonna need since we're making our cartridge for our game, Combat Disc, which requires a F8 bank switch. You're gonna come over here in the PLD code. So this is a code over here that you need to download. So click it, download it, and save it under your computer. If you're using different type of bank switch, you can come under here in the 16, 32. So it's F6, F4, or F2, somewhere down here. Where is it? 64 bank switch. Here's the PLD code, and you can download it. And of course, make sure you have the normal version. Don't have the Activision. Activision is a different type of PCB, which takes it's a little bit different, but you want to make sure that we're using the normal one. So let's come over in the assembly instruction and go over some of the materials, and you can come over here. Here's a PCB just like mine. Here's the instructions. If you want to read it yourself, you can do it yourself. Part placements, which it is printed on the PCB. But let's go over the materials one more time. I just show you guys how, well, this time let me show you. So here is the U1, so the front, and you're going to need an EEPROM. It's going to be a 2764, a 27128, and 27256. So F8, F6, and F4. And to the right, you have a DigiKey, which is a website which you can purchase components. But you're not going to need that because both of the EEPROM and the PLD are absolute. So they're not really manufactured anymore. So to get them, you're going to go to good old eBay. And to get EEPROM, 27C. And then whatever size we need. So Combat Disc is a 64. You can come over here and see. F8 AK 54, which is right here. 21664. And here we have one. So right off the bat, we found one. Just make sure it is compatible to your chip programmer which I'm gonna go over later in the video. But let me just come over here. So EEPROM, programmable binary. CMOS is okay, which is pretty much a different type of metal. Don't worry about it. But it does recommend between 100 nanoseconds to 200 nanoseconds. So we want to come over here and see if it tells on the description. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. And if it doesn't, 120, oh, it's perfect. You can just legit just Google it, and sometimes it will, like on the first website or so, will give the description. Over here, 28 dip pin, it's perfect. Here it is. Sometimes it gives us this data sheet over here, which then it can gives all the necessary data that we need. Right over here, so it has 8x8, perfect. So for our EEPROM, eBay, for PLD, eBay as well. So here it gives a description for the DigiKey, but like I said before, it is obsolete. So you're gonna have to come over here and PLD 24 dip. It requires 24 dip. And here you have AMD PAL version. There's GAL. There's a different types of it. Like I said before, with the EEPROM, make sure it is compatible not only with make sure it's 24 dip, not only with your PCB, but as well if you're a programmable chip device. So that's those two. And then you're going to need an EXO capacitor over here, which then you can put this code here under the DigiKey. So let me come over here. That's 399 dash 180 1 ND, non in stock, but you can always come over here, substitutes. Yeah, some over here. But oh damn, $85. $85. Oh, immediate. I'm looking at unit price. Oh, quantity. Oh yeah, sometimes it won't allow you certain amount of quantity. Sometimes like, hey, you have to purchase this X amount. So one is 25 cents. Okay. I'm not sure. Regardless, you can always go to good old eBay, come over here, get a EXO LED capacitor, and just fill out this information. It'll bring it up to you. So that's DigiKey over here. So eBay, I'll close all these tabs. And that's all the material necessary. So that's all the materials. And like I said before, we're doing this for combat discs. Make sure you download the PLD code for our bank switch that we're going to need for PLD. All right, for this step, all we essentially going to need is our programmer, our tape programmer over here. And of course, you're going to need plenty of our EEPROMs and EEPROMs right over here and your PLD chipset. I actually only have one PLD that I can use. I bought these ones over here. I have plenty of them actually, but they're not supported by the software that I have. So essentially, I only have one. That's all we need. We just need one chipset. So here is my EEPROM, and here is going to be my PLD. So let me show you guys in the software how to do that. All right, so you're going to write the files that we need into your chipset, both for our EEPROM and for our PLD chips. And to do that, I'm going to use my programmer, which is the TL866Ⅱ+. I have the latest version, as well the software that comes with it, which is the XGPRO. And you can get this at eBay or Amazon. Just Google this name over here, TL866Ⅱ+, or you can just do a quick search for chipset programmer or something like that. But that's the software that I'm using. I did record all of this before, but as I was clicking over here, as you see the titles and in the menu over here, if you click like verify, it wasn't showing, so we're gonna redo this one more time. But before I show you guys how to use the software, let me show how you properly put the chipset into our programmer over here. So let me zoom in a little bit over here. And as you see right from the chip over here, this is going to be this small dent right here. And if I were to zoom in to our programmer, so let me come over here, there's going to be a diagram over here, and you have to match this dent with the dent of the chipset. So right now my programmer is unlocked. You're gonna put the chip right in the arms over here, and you're gonna push down. Now it's locked down in place. As you see, here it's wiggling a little bit, and if I were to lock it, it's not wiggling, and that's when you use our programmer to either read, verify, blank, or whatever you need our programmer to do. All right, so let me show you guys how to write and read from our chip. As I mentioned before, I'm redoing this because my recording software did not recorded this pop-up windows in the drop-down menu, so I'm going to redo it. And as I also mentioned before, I only had one PLD at the time. I do have more over here, but it's not supported. But I'm going to show you the steps. It's pretty much going to be identical. And I'm going to start with our EEPROM, our ROM over here. And make sure you have a supported chip. And to do that, it's going to come over here. Make sure it's under all. The one that's not supported that I have is the policy E. As you see, it's not even over here, so it's not supported. So whenever you're planning to buy a chipset, come on here to software and see if it's supported, first thing. But we're going to program our ROM, so we're going to do the same thing. So come over here, select IC. The one that I have is the, just let me grab my chipset over here to see. It's on there. Other information is going to be on the top of the chipset. And this is the M2764A. M24, okay, type wrong. M2764A. So make sure you also type it right. And as you see over here, there's M2764A for this three type of manufacturer. But your chipset is going to have a logo. Make sure you match the logo on the chipset with the manufacturer. So mine is this one. If you click, for example, this AMD, let's say, for example, I clicked the wrong one. Come here and click on verify. This is ID error. So the good thing, you can verify it. Oh, let me go back to my chipset. This is the one that I have. Let me see, this 24C. No, this is the one. This is the one. Let me verify. So, all right, so we have it over here. Now, it's really important if our ROM or EEPROMs over here to check if they're blank. So let me click on blank or device blank. Either version. And check if it's blank. So memory empty, perfect. Because if it's not blank, you can even read it. So it's Alt FF, so it is blank. The only way to erase this file is to flash UV light, and I don't have a UV light box, so it'll be perfect. So you have the right IC selected. Click on reload. And I do here on the Quick access. And here is the combat disk bin file. Or I know the .A26 also works, but any file works. Any file is going to be a big binary file in a way or another. So click the game that we want. I selected our combat disk, or the game that you made. This is going to be the default version, so normal. Click OK. And here's the whole game that we made. All those videos making our game is right over here, ready to be written into your EEPROM. And when all of this is set, come here in device and program. That's how you're gonna write into our chipset. And then you click program, and it should be fine. And I'm gonna write on this chipset because, as I mentioned before, I don't have a UV box, so I can erase the files. But you could also get a EEPROM. I think then you could erase it electronic, but I don't have one. I only have these proms over here. So I'm gonna leave it blank if I need it later. And that's how you program for your EEPROM. Let me just show you guys how to program for your PLD. So let me take this out and put my unsupported PLD under my programmer. Actually, you didn't even need to do that, but I'll do it anyway. So make sure it's aligned properly, which it's not right now. Lock it down. And if I were to click verify, it's gonna give you a bunch of errors, spin error. But let's suppose I have the right one. Come over here. Let me erase this. And the PLD supported only if you erase over here, it shows all the ROMs that supported, all the PLDs and so forth, or in NAND gates, whatever. One PLD, it's only these two companies anyway, so make sure whenever you buy it, I'm gonna show you guys where to get this, or where to get this chipset in the next part. But right now, only for demonstration's sake, I'm gonna click any one of this. Like I said, mine is the PAL 20V8, so let me click this one. And as you see, instead of a binary, so before ST over here, I had this ASCII value over here, so FF. And when I come over here under the PLD, I only had a binary file. So here I have either 0 or 1. So this is the PLD. It says right over here, PLD CPLs, different file format. And under here, which is the previous chip, it's an EEPROM. Oh, it is an EEPROM, not an EEPROM. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. So come over here under our PLD. If it's supported, make sure it's supported, selected. And you can see already is a different type of file because this is either 0 or 1. The other one is an ASCII value, so you had all the ranges. So 8-bit, this is 1 byte. So you have your right PLD selected, pretty much like before, load. Here I have under F8, and it's going to give you the supported file. It's only .gad for the PLD. As you see over here, I already changed the format, and it's just like the EEPROM. You check, then you come over here on the program. You can check verify, see if it's the same. You can check if it's blank or not, which wouldn't matter. See, it says it's empty, but it's not the same device because all of these pins either mean address input or output. However, you just come in here in the program. Program is just gonna click continue. It stopped because it's not the same thing, but then it's the exact same process, and that's how you write into your PLD and how you write into your PROM. So now let me show you guys all the parts that you need to solder, all the EEPROMs, all the PCBs, all the parts that we need to put everything together into our own game cartridge.
So here is my desk with all the items you're gonna need. Those items over there, this is for when I clean consoles and whatnot. So this is, you're not gonna use those. You're gonna just use these items up front over here. And of course my third hand, need be. And then this is just a clean consoles too. But we're gonna need our irons, soldering over here, the soldering in hot iron. So we can solder, of course. You're gonna need your EEPROM, your PLD. And if you notice over here, I did tape it out so I can, let me grab you another one over here. Oh, here's another EEPROM. And this EEPROM doesn't have a tape. Sometimes you're gonna see a tape over the EEPROM. And that's how they erase all the files or blank it out. Just flash UV light through over here and erase all the files. So that's why, just to make sure, I put some duct tape over here. You're gonna need your case. Here is, I bought this on the website that I showed you guys before. I'm blanking out the name. I think it was Mordoff Games. And as well, it's a well-made case. And of course, you can 3D print your own. I still have my other 3D case over there. We're gonna need our PCB, or printable circuit board. Over here, I have two of them, and they're from Atari Age. You see here their logo from Pixel side. Here is the socket that I mentioned before on the last video, that you can solder everything together. And then let's go check right over here, which is the UI. This is going to be the part where our EEPROM is going to be. So just put this over here, and then we would get our EEPROM or EEPROM or EEPROM and put on top over. So pretty much like a when you put assemble your own computer. Then you have to move the legs over here to match and whatnot. But then you can just erase it if you have a UV box or EEPROM. And every time after you have everything soldered, just keep switching, and you can test it out on your own console or Atari 2600 instead of buying a Harmony cartridge. So that's one way. And you can get the PC board for the 64K on the AP Classic website. And of course, you can go to the last video, and you have all the information over there. And if you notice over here on our PC board, so here is the EEPROM UI, first unit over here. Then you have the PLD, but you have your C1, which is your capacitor, and one resistor, which is right over here, bottom DG keys. So one is our capacitor right over here, and here is our resistors. And that is all the materials that we're gonna need to solder everything and make our own Atari 2600 cartridge. All right, so let's begin soldering. So let's get our PCB over here. So let me zoom in. Zoom in and focus. So as you see over here, I have two parts. You have the back side over here, which has the PLD, the resistors, and the capacitors. And then you have sides, the front, which only has the EEPROM. And just to make sure, if you notice over here, there's the bump over here on this side. And the bump over here, let me get back in focus. On that side, so I'm gonna get the chip like this one, and you're gonna try to match. Where's the bump? It's on the other side. So as you see, there's the bump right over there, and the bump right over here on the diagram. So that means that this is going to go right over here. So let me try to do that. And then I also have my screwdriver for this one. Just push the pins over here. All right, so now it's a little bit of a struggle, but focus for my time. But I just managed to put the PLD to the board, and as you see from here, the pins are right over here. So now let me put this on my third hand that I have over here and start soldering. All right, so now get your hot iron and your soldering material. So both of your soldering. And what I'm gonna do, here's my hot iron, which has been going on for a while, and this soldering. Both of them are out of focus, but it's all right. And now all I'm doing with this is heating the leg over here, the pin, the metal pin, and I'm going to warm that up. And when that's warm, I'm just going to lay this soldering over it, and I'm not going to put it into the tip, like some people do. Okay, so let me just. All right, there's a little part over here that hard to do here. Okay. All right, it's not perfect. I'm gonna go over and redo the parts that's not really good. Let's go back to it. This is my damn cloth. And this time, let me turn on the light over here. Alright, so that part is good. So now let's go over, put the resistor and the capacitor. Alright, now I'm gonna place our focus on my hand over here. I'm gonna place our small capacitor into our chip over here. Or PCB, my bad. Oh, no, not capacitor, I'm sorry, the resistor. So you're placing the resistor. And show the diagram. It's pretty easy, you're just following the diagram. Let me use my other the clamp over here. Alright, so let me turn it around. And just take it out actually so it's a little bit faster. There you go. Almost perfect. There it is. Back to the clamp. Let me turn it around over here. 1, 2. Okay. So let's solder it. And get our solder. I'm getting it at least. Okay. Gonna warm up the leg. All right, perfect. Pretty good. Gonna come over here with my pliers over here. I'm gonna cut the, as you see over here, there's extra long lines over here. Cut it out. Don't really need it. You gone. You gone. All right, so that part was done. Let's flip it around and do our both of. Oh, it's not even on the camera. Okay, so that part is done. Pretty cool. Now all we have is this our capacitor, C1 and C2. So let's put those in. And pretty much like before, just gonna have to mold them a little. Get our zoom in, focus on my hand. And here it is, our capacitor 1 and 2. So pretty small. So do the bending thing. And take it out of the clamps over here and do it manually because it's easier for me. All right, so now it's attach. Let me put it back in the clamp and solder it. Okay. Pretty much like before. Just gonna cut the excess. Perfect. Now the last capacitor. Pretty much like before. Bend them over a little bit so make it easier to go in. Do it manually for now. I'll put it on the screen actually. A little bit of tug. There it is. This, something like this, so I can hold it in place. Let's clamp it back over here. And let's solder it. All right. Just pretty much like before. cut this big axis. What I have left is with the EEPROM. Alright, all we have left is put the EEPROM. Is right on that side. And like I said before, make sure that we put the bump. So the bump is on this side over here. It's gonna go right over here. We'll probably have to move it around a little bit. Bit of a struggle. Take it off the clamp. Bring back my trusty tool over here and try to fit it in. And of course, I'm doing this, but like I said before, you could put a socket over here. And if you have the 64K, then you can have yourself something you can put on your actual console and test out games. But I'm not going to, just gonna put this over here. And let me try to let me try to make sure the legs fits under all this holes over here. Well, let me try to do it on camera for us. Okay, so where is it not? So you're good, you're good. You're good. You're good now. Anything here? Is everybody in? Oh no, you're not in. Alright, so everybody's in now. Perfect. Everybody's in, so just gonna clamp it together. Actually, let me just do a little bit of our clipping. Alright, so now let's try to solder this. Clamp. Come over here. You try to do it like this. What is that? Alright, so let's solder it. And it should be all set. Oh, never mind. Let me. Alright, this is in. This is in, okay, so it's all good. Let me use one more clamp over here to make sure everything is slowly against this. I'm gonna need another one. Okay, not you. Come over here. Oh, it's moving around. Come over here. Okay, let me move it. Now let's try to solder it. All right. So we got everything soldered. So now let me go test it on the Atari 2600. All right, now we have all soldered, all assembled together. So let's test it out on the actual console. All right, you see it? It's working. It's all assembled. All right, so now at the final step, and here is the case that when you order from the Martif website, you're gonna get. And here is our game all set up. So this is gonna be pretty easy. So here it comes with the screw and a clip over here, just spring. And the spring, you're gonna come over here and put it right over here. You're gonna take this and try to put it right in the middle. So let me try to do that. Here it is. Oh, perfect. So now this is right over here as we need it. Now this is the back. When you put into the cartridge, this side, you put into the Atari 2600, you put it like this, with the EEPROM looking up. So here I have my case over here. So on the Atari 2600 is over here, you put it like this. So that's gonna mean that this part, the part with where you put the spring over here, is the label. So we're gonna put like this. Oh, so like this. So that means that this part the EEPROM has to go on the back when we're gonna hide it. So it's pretty much stick it over here and down here. And just try one more time. Here and here. Now just make sure you have to lock it in place. Okay. So that part's all set. And this here has two parts. You have this part and you have this part over here, which is pretty easy. How are you gonna do? Let's put it down here. This has a lever over here. And put it over there. So you have something like this. And this part, you're gonna put this part over here. So this part over here, it's gonna come right over here. So let me, as you see, I'll have to make sure. This part over here, and just to show you guys, so how the spring does. So here's the game that I ordered from the Atari Age. As you see, it springs this part over here back. So here is the game from Atari Age. So when you put it on the console, this part is going to pop out, and when you take it out, keep doing this off camera. And take it out. So it comes back. That's what it's essentially doing, this part. So now all I have to do is set it up so it comes back. All right. So you place it like everything's all set. Close the case. Let me try it. No. Okay, let me try to fix this, but then after you're all set, you just put the screw. But for now, let me just open this and align the spring properly. Just give me a second. All right, so it's having a little bit of trouble, but all we have to do is because this part was coming out and it wasn't stuck right over here. So, but now I fix everything and now it's in place, so now it should come down properly. So if you have a little trouble, just make sure it's like that. Alright, it took a while to finagle everything back in, but now it's all set, just like I demonstrated. And all we have to do now is to put our screw over here and tighten it up. And here is our case. So now let me test this out before I put the label that I bought this at the AP Classic store too. So I showed you that in the last video. So let me do a quick test. See if the case works and the game works. Nothing broke. And then I'm just gonna put the it's tight. Then I'm just gonna put the labels on the case. So let's test it out. Alright, so here is the case that we just tightened it up, and we're just checking to see if it goes in smoothly and there's no issues. So this side over here will be the label. Let's tighten it up. Oh, okay, went in and smooth. And we check over here off screen, see if it works. It works. Try one time. Alright, so actually everything is working fine. So all we have to do now is stick the label on this case, and we have our own homemade Atari 2600 cartridge. Okay, so here we have an actual game. Here's the one that we ordered from Atari Age. Here's the game that we're gonna stick our label on it, and just to show you guys the orientation. So this side is gonna be up. It's over here, and you want to put the label facing forward like this. So Atari 2600 had a bit of different orientation. You put the label normally on like this. Other newer consoles, you put something like this, but this one, like if it was Super Nintendo or any other one, you stick this in the game and the label is showing up. But Atari 2600 is the other way around. So be over here, and so you're gonna stick the black version. This is the silver version, so now I can see the difference. And now let me try to match this as much as I can. Alright, so here's the sticker. And the only thing that we're missing is this one over here. Oops. Try to be precise over here. And there we have it, your own Atari 2600 case that we made from ourselves. And that's it. We finally completed the first step that I had when I created this channel. It was to
create a Atari 2600 game, which I've been through that. I'll show you guys how the assembly code that we need, how to program for 6502, how to program for the Atari 2600. Let's make a game series. So I made a game to show you guys how the components and everything works. I'll show you guys some about emulation accuracy, how to get your own game case to a service, or how to make your own from this video. And it was quite a journey. And of course, if you like what I have done so far, feel free to click the subscribe. If you already have, thank you so much for supporting me on this time. And for the next series, I'm gonna go a generation higher, and we're gonna start programming for the Nintendo Entertainment Systems, or SNES. So watch out for the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.